Hello everyone, welcome back to more chess. I thought we'd start today with some puzzles before moving on. This seems like this has got to be great, right? Yeah, whatever the king does, he's going to be pretty unhappy. Oh, I didn't think about that. He can attack the knight. What do I do about that? Huh. So much for being unhappy. What am I supposed to do here? Like, my king is in a ton of danger. And if I do the obvious thing of sweeping my queen in here, then you just escape. Maybe that's not an escape, actually. Because this pawn is still exerting some pressure around the king's new location. We could check again here. And then pick up the queen. Oh, how lovely. Okay. That was a cool puzzle. Okay, we're obviously threatening checkmate here. The queen is blocking. How do we stop her? I mean, one option is I could just take this piece. If queen takes, then I snag the rook with checkmate. Well, not checkmate. Check. The queen can block. Or even the king could... No, the king couldn't escape because the queen's in the way here. Or indeed, even like this rook could block because the bishop is protecting it. So that lets me trade a knight for a pawn and a rook. But I do give up tempo there. There's a possibility, like, if I just do this and they're like, all right, forget your stupid, like, that doesn't actually work too well because then they just take my queen. And then I, of course, retake and my knight is dead. So that's why that doesn't work. Huh. What about this? As a way to try to deflect the queen? I don't think that's very good. She just gets deflected over here. I could do this, which attacks the rook, but I don't know how important that really is. Well, it's kind of tough for the rook to keep the queen protected, right? You have to stay on this file, and the only safe place to do so is here. Oh. Here... Oh, no, you can't take the queen because the knight's guarding it. So maybe this is still okay. First of all, they could just do, like, nothing and let me take the rook. Or not nothing, but, like, pick up the knight, let's say, and I get the rook. This seems favorable to me. But if they try to escape with the rook to... Oh, this is also fine, actually. Because the pawn is now in the way of this. This is not a line that works. So it doesn't seem like attacking the rook with the pawn really deflects it from defending the queen. And you might say, okay, but then now that the rook is out of the way, you can advance the pawn again, threatening the queen. But that's not really much of a threat because the rook just picks up my queen and we've traded. Maybe there's something even better for the opponent, but it doesn't seem like this is good for me, which is the point at which I can stop evaluating the position. I really think that deflecting the queen somehow is important. Oh, wait a minute. This doesn't work because of checkmate. Right, the queen is pinned. So here... here, here? But then rook returns, right? So what if I send out the rook first? I think they just like pick up my queen and say, okay, fine. We trade queens, we trade rooks, and I haven't really gained anything from the exchange. Well, I don't have to trade with rook, actually. I could capture with knight. Here, here, here. They could do this, I guess. But this still doesn't really seem that great to me. I'm gonna not succeed at this puzzle. I suspect. Something like this actually seems dreadful because... Oh, no, queen can't do this. She's pinned. I keep forgetting. Piling up on the pin piece seems like a generally good principle. Actually, this just unpins her. Because then she can just go, okay, I'll take your knight. And I'm like, oh no, I can't do this. My pawn's in the way. So maybe not so great. I don't know. Is this any good? No. What was I supposed to do? Ah, right. Not only is the queen pinned, but this pawn is pinned also. So the knight is safe from capture here. I'm not sure yet why that's so important. Why is this move good? It checks the king, but who cares? It says that. Like, but that's obviously a terrible continuation. It just loses. Well, I guess it doesn't lose. There's two defenders that can reach this spot, and so something like this actually keeps the king from losing. So I was never threatening checkmate. But this is... Black says, okay, I'll just trade my rook for a knight. And, of course, excuse me, we end up ahead in that exchange. But why do they do that? Why not just, I don't know, move the king? Give me the analysis board. How do I do that? Maybe just click here? That's good enough, I guess. So I do this. And it says these are playable, but not as good. They're a lot worse. Well, this is kind of a fork, except that bishop takes. It wants me to just pick up the rook. Oh, I see. Whether you capture the knight or not, I get a rook, and I lost only a knight. Okay, that's a good puzzle, I guess. I'm in check. I should do something about that. I have a few options. Take here is one. Take here is another. I guess move here is the last option. So there are only 3 legal moves. Should be easy. I've been doing puzzles with dozens of legal moves. How hard could one with only 3 be? Haha. The knight move feels natural, but I don't see any reason necessarily why it's that great. This feels bad, but maybe there's some reason that it's good? I mean, it gives up the rook, which kind of stinks, but if I have some powerful attack, maybe it's worth it. It doesn't look like I do, though. They could always, like, just snag my queen if that was a problem. And then I don't really have any attack at all. I'm noticing the intersection here, right, between the bishop and the queen. But since the opponent has tempo, I don't think I can do much with it. Like, the main advantage I see of this move is that there's no follow-up checks that aren't horrible. Alright, you could do this, but I just pick it up, or maybe with the knight, I don't know. And then there's no follow-up checks at all. I guess I would pick it up with the knight, actually, because I don't want knight here. I don't know. So I guess I should capture the knight, because him taking this is pretty sad for me. Well, there doesn't seem to be any huge advantage to not capturing. The question is just like, which of these pieces do I take with? I don't see any obvious difference between the two. Oh, wait a minute. My queen is under attack by a bishop. This discovered attack is attacking... This check is discovering an attack against my queen. If I take here, I lose the queen for no particular gain. So that's a horrible move. What about this? It seems okay. Alright, that's a good puzzle. How are we doing? It's been almost 15 minutes. This will be the last puzzle, then we'll go play a game. Knight captures a pawn here. My knight is hanging. That's obviously worth considering. I could try to move him, but there's nowhere that looks that good. This knight is undefended. Why don't I just pick it up? I mean, my knight is also undefended, so it's sort of just a trade. I was looking at this. I don't remember if I mentioned it. I don't think it really does anything. They just, like, grab my knight. Maybe. Or get out with their knight. Either way, it doesn't seem like I've accomplished much. Well, no, they have to move the queen, right? But I don't think they mind moving the queen. Do they? Where can the queen go? Not that many places, actually. Knight covers here, pawn covers here. Rook covers here. Knight covers here. This pawn's attacking that. Pawn covers here. Knight covers here. My queen is on that square because the pawn has moved. Knight's here. So the queen would have to move to one of these 3 squares, I think. if I push the pawn. Maybe that's a narrow enough restriction that I could actually do something with it. Here is no good, because then I can push the pawn again, forking these two with the knight defending the pawn. So really the queen has to move to one of these two spaces if I push the pawn. That's looking pretty promising. All I have to do is prove why those other two spaces are also no good, and I'll be in good shape, I think. So what happens if queen there? Ah, that is no good, because then I can knight here, forking the king, queen, and rook. Alright, so the queen can't go there either, which means if I play pawn here, the only response for white is queen here. And that's bad for the same reason. We fork the king, queen, and rook. So I think I like this move. Oops. She didn't move to one of the places where I was going to fork her. We push. And we take the rook. Is there some reason to not take the rook? No. Hey, good puzzle, and I'm happy with myself for solving it. Okay, let's go play a game. I'm white. Okay, here we go. Against still playing checkers. Well, that would certainly hamper your progress at chess if you believed yourself to be playing checkers. So I think this is a playable move, even though it like gives up of the pawn, right? But it doesn't. Like the queen's blocking, and also you can like play knight here. I think we'll just You can regain the pawn if you do this. And I think that's one reason this opening is, I don't know. I believe this is a popular opening, and the fact that you actually are not losing this pawn is a reason why that makes sense. Okay. We'll try to counteract that knight. We're both attacking the same squares. Oh, let's put them in red. There you go. Look at them. Duking it out. A standoff. And the analysis about this still holds. Bishop here seems productive. Yeah, because doesn't that threaten this pawn? Here, if the knight goes here, you're losing a pawn. Because I retake... Or no, you're not. I guess you're coming out even? Is that right? Yeah, we each lose a pawn and a knight. But I put my queen in the center. Do I like that? I don't know. Oh, pawn. Right, knight can't do that because it's pinned. That's the whole point. So the knight is pinned. And then there's only one defender of this square. Yeah, I don't know. This seems cool. As I mentioned, I have not studied opening theory at all. And so, like, I'm sure this is either a well-known mistake or a well-known main line. Everything here seems fairly natural. But I don't know the history of it, so I kind of have to try to invent it by myself. Or not the history, I don't know. I haven't studied it, so I have to, like, reinvent everything. Okay. So now they're putting a second defender here. That seems fine. Bishop here? Doesn't seem very good. It threatens the queen, but not, because I'm supported, but not in any realistic way, I don't think. Oh, wait a minute. What about this? This piles up on the pinned piece now, right? Threatens to take like so. You have to do something like this to defend, I think? But I can back up. And then this? If you really, really, really want to avoid losing your knight, maybe you can get away with it. I don't know. That seems fine to me. Like, I don't know. Am I just giving them permission to develop a bunch of queenside pawns? Is that what's wrong with this line? What if I do like this? Then if they take... The pin is gone, so that doesn't work. I would be taking here, and I don't know, we would all come out even, but my pawns kind of suck at the end. Huh. Queen here? Then if takes, I can renew the pin and do this. I guess that seems like an interesting thing to try. I don't see any obvious way for them to deflect my queen. Maybe it's supposed to be rook here, actually? Yeah, I think this doesn't work because takes rook here. We'll see if they find it, and I don't know. Maybe there's some way to make this work out anyway. Okay, I don't think that was the answer. Because now I do get to come out with like an okay spot and really harass this rook if I want. Or no, they could just take like this, I guess. That defends the pawn. Can't I do this? The rook has to go pretty far to escape the queen's threat. Can't be defended. Well, queen here defends, I guess. That doesn't really threaten the queen. Well, this attack hasn't worked out as well as I had hoped. I mean, I'm not like getting killed or anything, but I think I spent some tempo on the wrong things. Given my opponent a strong file, maybe. I think I just back up to here and take the B file. I just don't think this actually works because of queen up to block. That lets them do this, developing with tempo and hitting this. Okay, that's a pretty awful move, actually. I should have gone like here, maybe. This was too aggressive. Greedy might be a better word. It's a defensive move, but it was trying to stay active on the B file, and this is going to prove to be a problem. Okay, they didn't do it. I can pin the knight, briefly. Or develop my own knight, defending against their threat and also reinforcing this square. I like that better. So now if I have to, I can push the queen. Okay. Let's get castled, I think. My pawns are kind of woefully underdeveloped, but I don't have this kind of mess on that side like they do, so that's nice, I guess. This is a square I'd like to key in on, maybe? It's black's weakest point, I think. Okay, so bishop here does that. Also pins the knight, which doesn't seem to do anything yet. And if they do this, I'll be sad. I don't know. I won't be sad, but like I'll probably trade this. Maybe? Maybe I back up actually. Try to keep this pin. And then they do this. I back up to here. That doesn't really accomplish much. Take. One thing to note is if I do this... No, the queen can still reach back here if she wants. Okay. I don't like attacking this knight, really, but I think it's better than trying to retreat with my bishop, which seems sort of futile. I definitely want my king over here, not over here. That's where the queen happens to be at the moment. I guess it's also where the bishop is. So there is kind of a scary combo eventually in this area. But the fact that there's no black pawns over here means I'm really exposed to major piece attacks. And conversely, that I want to get my own rooks over here to take advantage of that same circumstance. So that was why we put the knight here, is to survive this. And now I'm attacking two undefended pawns, which is nice. With check, even. Let's try to... Well, I can't really get to a dark square, which is what I would like to do. These pawns are giving black good control over the dark squares. I could go here. I don't really see much advantage in that. Well, where does the rook go? He kind of has to go exactly here. Is that good for me? No. He can just stay where he is. The queen's defending him. All right, let's back up. And if pressured, go here. Here? I don't know. That makes me weak to this pawn advance. We still want to look at this square. Okay, we're not immediately being attacked. Let's just reinforce this. Well, they're not even doing anything about it right now. Yeah, I don't know. Let's just get that going. Maybe this would have been better. But I don't like having this weakness here. This frees my rook up to do other things. Although, maybe there's a weakness here now someday. I don't think black's going to get an attack there anytime soon, though. I want to activate my rook soon. I'm not sure exactly how to do that. Maybe here, not now, but here kind of thing might work. I don't know, it seems pretty awful. A knight here is attacking the main problem area for black. All I need to do is get defenders on it. And if this, I'm happy to see that, I think. Breaks up this pawn chain. I'll just run away, obviously. Probably here. Maybe here. But I like, I don't know. I feel like I have more of a kingside attack going at the moment just because of this. So I'd rather be over here. It blocks my queen, but I'll do something like this with him maybe someday. I need to have defense for all this stuff as well. I don't think they can chase like this, because I could do like so and win a pawn if they tried to push. This would obviously be pretty bad. It gives me an excellent square here. And now this pawn is isolated. I can do something like this. Activating a piece with an attack. I don't want to let this pawn budge if I can help it. So maybe them giving up a pawn would be worth something. I don't know. This seems like an important blocker. Okay. I could go here, but I actually want my queen to come in behind the rook. Well, I don't care, right? It's only a queen defending right now, and only a queen can defend. So this still gets me in, I think. And it does so with less tempo than if I had to... It spends less time than if I had to do this, this, and then finally attack. Right. It would be ideal to have the queen in the back of the battery, but she's fine in front, I think. And I'm still covering this. Well, maybe I'm not. Push, takes, take. I think it works. I don't think they can do that. And if they don't, how are they defending this? I see. They're gonna just offer to trade pawns. Okay, I think I'll accept. Ah, but at the end, this pawn is... No, it's fine, I think. This knight's defending it. My pawns feel very underdeveloped. But, oh wow, I'm doing more with this, actually, because I'm attacking this undefended rook, knight, bishop, and this undefended pawn. These pawns are threatening for sure. But I think things are going fairly well for me. Obviously, I'm up 2 pawns. That's an advantage. But not necessarily enough to win the game. You could do like this to defend, I guess. But I think I'd be okay with doing that. Okay, just gonna give me the pawn, huh? Is there some weird attack if I do that? I don't think so. I need to be careful of my back rank, but I still have a rook there, and I can make a flight square when necessary. Plus, they don't have the file yet. Okay. I'm just gonna hang out by my king. Okay, we're starting to pick back up on time as well, which is getting close to mattering. However this game goes, I'm happy with how I played it. I'm sure I made some mistakes, but overall, I think things have been going pretty well. I've been thinking through plans. I dropped something earlier that they didn't take advantage of. They had like a bishop here earlier that would have threatened this pawn. I'm pretty sure that was a mistake. It was when I moved my queen here, I think. I'm sure there were other mistakes, but that's the only one I remember that I noticed at the time and still remember. So why don't I do this? Pile up on the bishop and attack this pawn? Mm-hmm. But I think I can do something like this. There's no immediate danger, but there might be some in the future. And now they're stuck babysitting everything over here. Ooh, that was kind of cool. But I can defend my knight indirectly like this. Because now I can afford to recapture this way. And I think they kind of have to trade here, because otherwise... I guess I could do this and insist, at which point I have to run away. I guess I would be taking this way. No, okay. I think this works. The bishop is pinned because otherwise I get the rook. And if they move the rook, now I have another attacker on this bishop and I'm safe still. I'm okay with this. I'm getting at least one rook off this way, I guarantee that. And now I have these two pawns more than my opponent. Their pawns are much better positioned. But I think I can divide their bishop's attention. Right, I have a knight, which will be better anyway, because I can just put my pawns on light squares and they're like invincible. And all I have to do is fend off these pawns with my knight to be okay. They can obviously just do this and I lose one of my pawns, but I'm up several. Oh, whoops, I drew an arrow. There goes my pre-move. Okay, cool. So let's get the pawn out of harm's way and onto a light square. Now these two do a good job of defending each other if the rook ever pushes in. Oh, don't like that too much, but knight's fine. I can retake this way. The pawn is pinned, so I can't do this, right, because of the rook. But I think it's fine. I do feel uncomfortable that I never got a flight square, but my back rank is very safe, so it's sort of fine. Can I do this? Maybe I could have done that earlier, actually. I think this should be okay. I should be looking, obviously, for tactics with my rook, where some check does something. But now they have to either close it up, or they can't, like... If they push again... Well, maybe I should have waited, actually, for them to push again before... Like, they were trying to pile up on my pawn. I can actually just dodge by moving here. Maybe I should have made them commit to that first. Okay. I don't like that, actually. Let's just deliver a check or two and see what happens. Okay, nothing good. I'm scared about what this rook is going to do. And the bishop is making a serious threat as well. I don't like that. I guess we just back up to here, and now I'm protecting this a bit better. But my king is very trapped in here. I don't like it. The knight is kind of a monster, but he's overloaded as well. Let's just stop that pawn in its tracks and guard both my pawns. And I think now I can free up my knight. I'd like to start pushing this, but I don't think it would be productive yet. Maybe I'm wrong. Ooh, I see. That frees this up in a way that I didn't notice. You can get it here. Okay, let's back up. We knew defending this pawn was going to be a little tricky. If I end up having to trade my knight for it, I'm still in a dominant position. I could have done this first, but I didn't want my... knight tied down. I just wanted the pawn out of the way. And now I have 4 pawns to 0 on both sides of the board, so I should be totally peachy. Just push to promotion. Which one would you like to stop? You can have all 3 of those if you want. Okay. And oh no, don't know. Well, that was a terrible pre-move. No, it's fine. Anyway, king can't get here, so we'll just make another queen, make things easy. Make sure he doesn't get stalemated though. Would that be stalemate? If I promoted right now? Where could he go? That would be stalemate, yeah. So let's not do that. Let's just give a check. He has to go here, and then we can promote with check, right? Like that? I don't know. I'm like scared of stalemating him. But I have plenty of time now. Okay, we're gonna set up like a really simple ladder here and stop screwing around. This, he has plenty of legal moves, right? Right. And then we're gonna go here and chase him down to the bottom of the board. I could do this. I don't see a reason to do so. There you go. We made it. We did a checkmate. Yeah! Okay. Let's see how this one went. I mean, it was definitely not the cleanest conversion, I think. Not least the fact that I had to go all the way up to 2 queens just for safety, but like defending against these pawns I don't think was done as well as it could have been. 1 inaccuracy. Oh, okay, it wasn't done. I was like, okay. I know there's at least one mistake for real. Okay, yep. This was a long game for me. I haven't had a 71 move game, like, ever on channel, I don't think. Whoa! It really hates what I did around here. Queen e2. Apparently a horrible move. My worst of the game. Okay. So, only 3 blunders. a little more than I would like. But it was a 70 move game. I mean, give me a break. So it hates this. I think I talked about this actually at the time, that actually, right. This doesn't work because they can just take rook here. And I never end up getting anything, right? Oh, don't. Yeah, go away, Stockfish. I'm trying to learn here. So I can just take it and win a pawn. Why not do that? Takes. What's wrong with that? I also mess up their queen side a little bit. I was trying to do a little bit better. I thought there was going to be a way where I could be up a piece instead of up a pawn, but I think it's just like... Oh, does it matter? Oh! No. If I do this... Does it matter which one I take with? Here, I take with check. And so they kind of have to do this, and then I get a pawn here. Here, I take without check, and they can just recapture like so. And then when I take here, I'm not actually up any material. We've each earned a pawn and a piece. But this way, I get the pawn. Yeah, that's what I'm supposed to do. No. You don't like that. Interesting. Why not? Annoy the queen first? I don't think that works. This really shuts me down. Does it? Yeah, because I have tempo kind of earmarked for this area, and I can't afford to spend any of them running away with my bishop. I don't know. I feel like this is the only move, and this was a miscalculation. I can take like that, but it's also bad. What am I supposed to do instead? Run away. Insist on them ruining... But... Oh! No. I guess the issue is, suppose they do this. Now I don't win any material. I just pick up the knight. Really? You actually think I should do that instead? Why? I guess it's kind of daring them to take. And if they do, then I pick up the knight? Okay, I guess that's fine. Like, suppose this. Ah! Suppose they actually do take. Ah, then I can renew the pin. So that's why they won't take. They have to instead run away. And then I get to win a pawn over here. Maybe. No, I don't. This is defended enough. It's saying just like, okay, instead of winning a pawn, you messed up their structure and put a piece way over here. You can actually, like, they can make me lose a pawn if they want, but I win it back quickly with the knight. So... let me just double check. Suppose that I do say, I want to win that pawn. I do get it, right? Yeah, like I'm up a pawn. Unarguable. But my pawn is hard to defend. Someday he's going to be an issue. I don't know. I love this pawn, though. I don't know. I lost my light square bishop, and there's no pawn support for him. He'll be picked off someday. by like a bishop here or something. Okay, maybe that's why it's not so useful to save him. And yeah, this was the other mistake. Oh no, it actually doesn't mind. When did I put my queen there that was wrong? This. I didn't like this. It actually says that's fine. Why isn't this an issue for me? Ah, I can interfere with the knight. And then this bishop is just kind of out of the game. And my knight is one day threatening cool stuff. This pawn is under a more direct attack. I see. Actually, it's supposedly not that bad for black. Oh, it thinks that's weird. It says you're up 2.3 and the best move is this, but if you do this, you're only up 1, which like does not really make sense. I still don't understand how. It says, oh, if you let me think about it a little longer, I realize this doesn't work, and you should go here. Interesting. Yeah, I guess I can always escape with check and then reinforce this. I didn't think of that because the bishop was here. But I was like, what do I do if bishop here? In that case, the bishop, of course, will no longer be here. And I can do that. Okay. But it's not as bad as I thought it was. So it doesn't like this, which I thought was pretty cool. I was attacking this pawn in a way that could not be easily defended. Why don't I just take a pawn, though, right? That one's already undefended. It's probably not this, by the way. Nope, it says just take the pawn, dummy. Alright. Doesn't like knight f1. I was feeling under a little bit of time pressure here. And I think it's pretty clear that I should move my knight. I don't know. I could try that. Doesn't seem good. And I couldn't see anywhere better to move him quickly. Like this, yes, he's supported by my rook, but my idea was I didn't want him blocking my rook from activating. So the other options are this, which isn't horrible. The bishop's attacking, but the rook's defending. But I could imagine running into trouble if something like here, now my rook is pinned to the knight. I can do this, and but it lets them activate their rook. So that was why I didn't go to the side. And I don't think anywhere else is a better place to put him. But I guess it must be. And if anywhere else is good, I think it has to be here. No? Here? Really? Nope. What's the joke here? That's defended, and even if it weren't, it's a pawn instead of the knight. I don't think there's any real upside in this. What's the idea? Counterpunch instead of defend. This bishop is attacked once and defended once, so I can delay dealing with the knight by responding with an equivalent threat. Say, okay, I'll go here and attack your bishop. But, like, the bishop can just go here, attacking my rook, and now I have 2 pieces hanging. What am I supposed to do about that? I don't see any incredible threat. Well, okay, I can rook here, getting out of the attack and then attacking the bishop, I guess. So, or here, I guess. Sure, this is a better file rank to be on, I guess. Maybe. What's worse about that? It's similar. Yeah, it doesn't really matter much either way. And so they get the knight, but I get the bishop in the end, which is more valuable. Okay. Next mistake? Here, I developed the rook. I thought this was pretty clever. As a way to keep defending the knight. I could always run away. But I didn't want to do that. Oh. Take here. The rook can't actually move because it's tied down defending the bishop. So this pawn is just free. Neither of them can take because they're like kind of both defending the other in a way. They both have to stay where they are to keep the bishop defended. Or the rook. Whichever one moves, I take the other one. Nice. And then the very next move, another blunder. Or is that right? No. This was my blunder. This is a mistake. It does not like this. I think it's the same thing again. No, not this time. Go here, attacking the rook. If they take, we pick up the rook. But then they get my rook, so that's pretty bad. No. Takes, takes. Rook takes with check, then take this rook. That seems okay. Nope. Alright, what was wrong? Oh, just defend the knight. So how much worse was this? It says this is 3.4, and this is 3.1. I don't know if I would really quibble so much about that. It thinks this is 5.2, but my two best continuations are only 3 point something, so I'm not really... Yeah, it actually, if you get a little more time to think, it says, oh, okay, maybe you're not 5.2, maybe you're only plus like 4, in which case these mistakes are pretty small. It doesn't like me taking with the rook. Maybe it thinks I should keep a rook on board to make the endgame easier to deal with, I guess. I couldn't tell whether I wanted one rook off or two. I thought my knight would be enough to handle all this stuff over here, and it was, but I don't know if it was, like, correct. Yeah, I mean, obviously they should have done this either way. I guess, okay, one reason this rook is so good is because he's already behind the passed pawn. So they do this, and I just, like, start pushing. The bishop is there just in time. And now my pawn is isolating their bishop, and I have a rook and a knight and a pawn against their single rook. Okay, yeah, that would have been better. But still, a win. Even if against someone rated slightly lower than me, there's still plenty of variability in my rating. And I thought it was a great game that I played pretty well in. Plenty of blunders, but not as bad as the ones that I've had before. I feel like, and I recognized some of them at the time as well, which is a nice improvement. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.